Michael Fassbender?
No.
I met Michael Fassbender once. They were filming The Counselor. He was filming The Counselor with Brad Pitt underneath my office in Hoxton Square when I worked there.
Nice.
And I just looked out my window, and there was Ridley Scott and Michael Fassbender just hanging out.
Just chilling,
just talking to anyone that wasn't going to have a chat. So say hello. And then it was really weird because later on in the day, I left my office and Brad Pitt left. We hadn't seen Brad Pitt all day. Brad Pitt left the door. We were like a Swiss clock. You know those Swiss clocks when the things come out at the same time? and just me and Brad just came out the doors at exactly the same time.
Yeah.
And he smelt... You're ready for this. You're ready, aren't you, Emma? Look at Emma. Emma is so ready for this. He smelled the smell of Marlboro Lights and mints. You know when teenagers smoke and then they have like a chewing gum because they think their mum might not know, and that has a really disgusting smell. You know, like mint and Marlboro Light, and that's what he smelled. And aftershave. That's kind of what he smelled. Those three things.
Well, you know, us celebrities are just normal people.
I know, but come on, Brad. Your mum knows you smoke. She's seen you on a film. She's seen you smoking on a film. So, but it was very weird, and his face looked quite like waxy. It felt a bit like Madame Tussauds. Mate, hang on, I wasn't Madame Tussauds. No, I wasn't.
It was a dream.
Yeah, it was all a dream. No, it really did. It really did happen. But Fassbender, oh my God, what a guy! He was so nice. Like all day, I saw him all day. He was just hanging out, just chat to anyone that came by, and having a really lovely time. And Ridley as well. Ridley's a big deal.
He is a movie star.
He is a movie star. Exactly. He loves to be naked as well.
Who does?
Was he just
Fassbender.
naked in the street?
Oh, yeah, but if you were Fassbender, you would get naked.
Mate, if you've got it, flaunt it.
Yeah.
He's got a lot to flaunt.
No one's complaining.
Exactly. Good.
Quick one.
Yes.
I started watching a new show on Apple TV.
Yes.
Called The Studio with Seth Rogen.
Oh, yes.
And I was watching it last night, and it was 2 episodes. And the character of Seth Rogen reminds me of you.
Brilliant.
And I can now...
What a legend.
I want to see you run a movie studio. Because when I was watching it, I was like, this is Nick. This has got Nick energy to this.
I'm going to make a strong recommendation here. Seth Rogen's Yearbook is a really good book. Have you read it?
No, I've got the audio version.
Yeah. I read the word version, but I would listen to the audio version as well. It's really inspiring. It's amazing that Superbad took like 7 years to make or something crazy like that. And they really kept going. Like he had to be quite tenacious in his career.
He wrote it with Evan Goldberg when they were about 15. So that's why it's quite juvenile.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Seth Rogen, yeah. No, so if you want to watch something, go Apple TV, watch The Studio, and you'll see Seth Rogen channeling Nick energy. It's just that I can just imagine you going on set, trying to get your authority across, being as thorough with everything, but then just geeking out and then just causing mayhem. Like there's a bit where I laughed out loud because he did a proper pratfall in the middle of this scene, and I was just like, yeah, that's Nick. I could imagine Nick doing that when you're not in the zone. When you're not in the zone.
People do laugh at me when I'm giving direction on set to people, and they just laugh at me because it's going mad. I like to act things out. When I was getting like these kids, I was talking about the kids dressed up as Daft Punk, and I was showing them how I want them to dance and stuff. Once I showed Maria Sharapova how to wiggle her bum for a dance, and my friend's got this best photo. She just looks at me like, who is this guy?
You mansplained to Maria Sharapova how to wiggle her bum.
No, listen. When you work with talent like Maria Sharapova, you only get like 10 minutes, right? And there is someone with a stopwatch there.
And you spend it mansplaining.
So you cannot say, can you just do a thing? You've got to say, can you do exactly this?
Oh, right.
And then they do it, and then you're like, right, on to the next thing.
Yeah. Do you know what I love about when we talk about celebrities?
Yeah.
Is that we talk about celebrities and it's ingrained in our brains as like a memory. To them, no clue. They will not remember it one bit. So we will repeat this conversation. We'll remember this story and tell people all these years. And they will be like, yeah, probably. Yeah, there was probably some bearded guy telling me how to shake my bum once. Yeah. I'm Maria Sharapova. I don't remember stuff
She'd be like, remember that time, I don't know what this voice. Remember that time I was at Wimbledon, in the Wimbledon club, and that really, really annoying idiot man showed me how to wiggle my bum?
I told you.
No?
Studio Seth Rogen energy right there, that is.
That's just the personality.
Sick burn. Talking of witches, we have got
Very nice.
Emma from the Essex Witch Museum.
Love it. I can see your jumper. You got it on there.
Yeah, exactly. So we can't do any guessing
Sorry.
today.
Yeah.
Oh, can I guess? Do you work for the Essex Witch Museum?
Yeah.
How did you guess?
How did you guess? Do you know we've got all back to front? I'm going to do
the intro.
I'm going to do the intro, but I'm not going to edit it into any chronological order because
Why not?
It's
Do it Nolan style.
It's just too
Christopher
much
Nolan
work. Yeah.
style.
Here's a callback. Welcome to Are You Creative podcast. We're here again in Lorca Media Studio in Chelmsford in Essex, and this is a podcast about creativity in Essex. I am Nick Hearn. I'm a creative expert. Apparently, I am. I've got loads of awards and stuff to prove it. And I'm here with Adele Barker, influencer, famous, the face of Westfield.
Yeah. The face of Westfield.
The Westfield
Yeah.
and Trans Day of Visibility.
I've even had Westfield Instagram account comment on my post.
Oh yeah, I've made it.
Yeah. And besties with, she doesn't know this, but Sophie Spencer.
Oh yeah, when she comments, let me know. Like, hold the front page.
She won't.
Really?
Well, I did send her my International Women's Day post about her, and she said, "Oh, thank you so much."
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice once replied to one of my tweets.
Stop tweeting me. Yeah.
He didn't. I just couldn't believe. It's really weird, isn't it? When just a celebrity. I don't know.
It's a weird world, isn't it?
It's like I was just, often that you're just in a weird thing. You're on a. Oh, Vanilla Ice just replied to my tweet.
I had that with Sunita. Remember Sunita?
Yeah, amazing.
She used to tweet me all the time back in the day. I had chats with her, and
She thought you were Simon Cowell. She's like, what's this? Yeah. Oh, actually, you're Adele. No, anyway.
The other Adele.
the other Adele.
Did I say we're here learning about creativity in Essex? We've got an amazing guest here. Emma, how do you say his name?
Wardall.
Wardall. Yeah, I didn't want to say. I was going to say Wardell,
No,
and it felt really weird. Wardall.
all of the hospital wards.
Wardall from the Essex Witch Museum. Which seems a bit weird. Doesn't seem very creative. But are you creative?
My background is actually marketing.
So is that a yes or a no? It's a
Yes.
Boolean question.
Yes.
Are you creative?
Yes.
She is creative.
That's it. End of podcast.
Oh my God, her background's in marketing. That's really interesting. I did not know this.
Yeah, my working history is really varied. Oh, I said this earlier. So the two questions I get asked a lot is, where's the museum?
Yes.
And are you a witch? And
Yes.
my response is, I'm not a witch and I'm not a historian, but somehow I am now setting up a witch museum.
Yeah.
And-
Which I love. This is like the craziest caper that anyone's having right now. I think.
It's mental. When I go through the work history, it's incredibly varied and seemingly nonsensical. But I'm at a point now where it's like everything I've ever done has been leading to this point, and I'm pulling in all these bits from all these different jobs.
You've powered up. Yeah, I see.
yeah,
Like
just grabbing all these people and all
bring me
these-
the marketing skills.
Yeah, literally, just bringing everything together.
What else have you got? What else are you drawing into yourself? Like you're like this amazing witch black hole at the moment, bringing all this amazing
Your
stuff.
life is like the end of Usual Suspects. Everything's just piecing together.
So what else? What other skills have you got in there?
So when I went to college and I did advanced print and publishing, and my lecturer there was a woman called Sid Moore, who is now an author.
Yes, amazing witch book.
writes-
Sid Moore,
The Essex Witch Museum Mysteries.
legend.
And then we kind of kept in touch on and off since then. And then my working history, I worked in local government, I've worked in the private sector.
Oh, so hang on. So local government. So you know how to do the funding applications, and you know how to talk to the councillors and stuff.
I've worked.
Do you know how to do a RAMS report? Is that right? Is it called risk assessment? I don't know. That's a boring council thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, lots of red tape. I know how to deal with that.
What would happen if a broomstick fell on someone?
Yeah. Well, we have to do a risk assessment for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've had to do risk assessments for if people want to bring their familiars into the museum because
Yeah.
Do you ever do a risk assessment in case someone does a spell that goes wrong?
we've had to put in quite a lot of protection stuff because not everyone is happy about what we're doing.
Oh, okay.
So-
What do you mean, like witch protection?
Yeah.
Like the wee pots and stuff.
No, we've not done those.
Oh, you haven't put no dead cats in the chimney.
I've not personally been weighing into any bottles. No.
You could probably buy it on the dark web anyway.
Probably. I mean, to be fair, if I weed in a bottle, I'd probably sell it for a lot of money, and then that would probably fund the museum.
Oh, a bit like Lily Allen on OnlyFans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Witchpiss.com.
That's it. I'm buying that domain later.
I was just about to say, like, maybe before you put this out.
Yeah, before it goes
You know
out.
was the influencers selling their bath water?
Yeah. Well, there's another one recently who was selling their fingernails and toenails and
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw them on. They were on like this morning or
something like that. Yeah, something really random.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that. Witchpiss.com. We could do this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but people would scientifically check it and they'd be like, look, hang
they
on.
would.
That's just like
If nothing else, I'm going to buy it as a redirect to the museum.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. That is really, really good.
Oh, sorry. There's already a band called Witchpiss. Of course there is.
Oh.
If you go on
Who told you that?
there's an encyclopedia for metal bands, and every time I think I've got a good name for a metal band, I
have
look
to
it
look
up and I'm like,
Someone's got there first.
Is there a Wikipedia?
I don't know, but there should be.
there absolutely should be.
There's a long pause.
Do you want you copyright that?
Yeah, go for it.
Adele's Wikipedia.
I ain't got time. I'm busy.
No, that's right. Emma's going to make it. Emma's going to make it.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I've got
just going to
loads of
say
free time.
Adele's Wikipedia, and it's going to be you, but with like a cool witch's hat on.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, just looking really cool. like Sabrina.
Oh, I used to love it.
Was Sabrina have a familiar? Was it Sabrina have a black cat?
Yeah.
Salem.
Salem.
Salem. That's right, because there's a cat called Salem in Chelmsford
Yeah.
that goes around on someone's shoulders. Have you seen Salem? Lovely cat.
What, from Sabrina?
I thought so. In the witch trials, there is someone who was accused of having a familiar, and it was a cat called Satan.
You're going to have to explain what
Okay.
familiar is to me.
Sorry.
Let's go back here.
Let's go back and we'll come back around. Yeah.
Right, hang on. I'm just looking it up on Wikipedia.
Nice.
Let's hear about it from Emma.
I'm gonna have to do it like familiar noun.
Yeah.
So a witch is context. So witches were thought to have made a pact with the devil. They were said to have sold their soul to the devil and have carnal copulation with the devil. And then as part of that bargain, he would give them a demon in the form of an animal. So it was a familiar. And then they would suckle the animal or feed it drops of their blood in exchange for the animal then going and doing their evil bidding.
Oh, I like this.
Oh, okay.
It's like having a Pokemon.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And actually, Satan the cat, he did power up. He evolved.
Really?
Yeah.
What was his final form? Satan.
No, well, he was always Satan. He started off as a white spotted cat, and he was owned by a woman called Elizabeth Francis. She then passed him to her neighbour, a woman called Agnes Waterhouse, who then had Satan the cat, and then apparently having Satan the cat in a basket was too much hassle. So he transformed into a toad that she then kept in a little clay pot because it was easier to store.
Yeah. Satan in a pot.
Yeah, that's what you need. Everyone needs,
Yeah.
Conveniently
Hold
stored
up.
Satan.
It's convenient. You can just take it out of the fridge and spread it straight on your toast.
Sorry for the Adele cynical alarm to just sort of go off there.
Yeah.
They just gave that cat away and just went and got Toad, right? Surely.
No, this is a familiar.
No, someone saw it. Oh, I don't know.
I like the way you're like, I'm not even going to pretend.
Adele, the toad still answered the name Satan.
Yeah,
Toads
because
are,
toads are very responsive to the names. Everyone knows this.
Yeah. And then what? And then
toads are horrible. I don't like toads. I don't like them, right?
Well, supposedly she used the toad to kill her husband. She put it in his boot,
Oh,
and then
right.
he died.
what of shock?
Oh, I don't know.
How
Maybe.
does it work?
It's not a poison frog, like a toad, like poison tree
Well, I don't
toad
think he
thing.
licked it with his foot.
Well,
She looked at you like, what
you
are
can-
you talking about?
listen to me.
That's
Listen,
just my face. Sorry.
you can still osmose poison through your skin.
This is
Okay,
true.
so if you got a particularly potent toad, a Satan toad,
Satan
in your boot, I'm sure if you left your foot in there for about 3 or 4 weeks, you probably could die.
I don't think he kept his boots on for 3 or 4 weeks.
No, okay,
Maybe.
and the toad would die of asphyxiation anyway.
Probably.
What happened?
Infection.
Yeah, what happened? So the
So then
toad
the toad
evolved. Come on, we're
it
final
evolved again.
form.
Final form was a dog, which kind of looked like a greyhound but with horns.
Yes, I love this. What's it
then-
called? What's it called? Oh, it's still
It's
Satan.
still Satan.
Oh, sorry, it's still Satan.
Still the same demon.
I've still got
Come
my head.
on,
In, I'm
Nick.
getting my head in Pokemon world. I'm thinking like it's got a name like Satanicus or something like that.
Satan.
No, it's still just Satan. But then Agnes's daughter Joan has she calls out to Satan because her neighbor.
Oh, don't you hate it when the dog's not coming for dinner? Satan! Satan! Dinner's shaking the box of dog treats.
What's probably worse for her is that she went and called to him expecting the toad to come out, and instead
just about to say, because that's a bit of a shock, right?
She was expecting a toad, and the dog came out.
And with horns.
Which everyone knows greyhounds don't have horns.
Maybe they used to. That's
So she called out.
If a greyhound did have horns, like Romford Dog Track, they could probably put a spoiler on it or something like that, make it run faster.
Oh my god! Can you imagine if it was part of Crofts? Like, this one's got the best horns.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we're giving the flaming rosettes to Satan.
Beelzebub in close second.
So put the rosette on upside down.
Oh, why is it so hot? Why is it so hot?
So we've got Satan the dog.
So for just quickly on that bit, because
Cat, toad, dog.
The thing that makes me laugh with that is, so when it went to court and the girl that Joan had sent the dog after,
Agnes Waterhouse.
So Agnes's daughter Joan sent Satan the dog after her neighbour because the neighbour wouldn't give her any cheese.
Yeah.
So she said,
I mean, that's fair enough. Yes. I think that is fair enough.
And then when it then came to court, and the girl was sort of accusing Joan and saying about what had happened at trial, and she was saying, and this dog came to me, and it looked like a greyhound, and it had horns, and had the face of a monkey.
Okay.
And Joan, instead of taking this opportunity to say, "No, I never had a familiar. I'm not a witch," said, "No, it didn't have the face of a monkey. You're lying."
Yeah.
That was.
So I did have a dog called Satan with horns, but it didn't have the face of a monkey.
Yes, that was her defence.
They tricked her. That was a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
They tricked her into saying that.
When was this?
This
couple of years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Was this in Chelmsford?
Pre-COVID?
Yeah.
But this was in Chelmsford?
Yeah.
And why... Right, I've got to ask this. I'm going to ask this about a million times.
Yeah.
Why is there no statue of a greyhound with horns in Chelmsford?
Maybe there is.
You know how like Bungay, like we had Erie Essex on last week. We're talking about Bungay. We're talking about Black Shuck and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, Black Shuck's venerated. Why have we not got? We need this dog with horns. I'm going to do. I'm going to go full Paddington statue on the Marconi now outside the theatre. We're going to replace it with a greyhound with horns.
We could get it in Tyndall Square, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's where the Assizes Court were.
Oh,
so
by the way, happy Tyndall Day, Judge Tyndall Day today. It's like, don't forget to wear your cone.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, it's a real thing. Yeah, on Chelmsford Forgotten.
Oh.
It's Tyndall Day today. So,
cool.
you know.
Nick's an admin on it.
Traditionally celebrate it with a cone, one on the head. Anyway, let's talk about Tyndall Square. We're going to put a statue there.
Is it a cone or a conical witch hat?
It's actually a cone. It's a traffic cone.
Oh, because it got put on the statue.
Exactly, and that's why it's Tyndall Day today.
Little Wikipedia fact
I'm sorry, that's Wikipedia, that one.
That was Wikipedia. Wikipedia fact is all cones were, created in the form of witches' hats.
Really?
Well,
but do you know what?
Wikipedia.
Hang on. We're going to talk about the Tyndall Square, and then we're going to talk about witches' hats because it's really fascinating.
See, look at me. I know.
Yeah, exactly. So in Tyndall Square, we're going to put a statue of... That's where the witch trials happened?
Yeah, so just in front of where the Shire Hall now stands in Chelmsford, there's Tyndall Square. And so Shire Hall opened sort of 1775, I think, top of my head.
By Doc Brown and Michael Wilflow.
Exactly, yeah.
Hence the clock.
Yeah. They're hanging off of it in a lightning storm.
Yeah, we remember.
There's movies about it, Nick.
I know.
Is it a documentary?
It's a documentary about it, Nick.
Doc Brown documentary.
Yeah.
Oh,
so there was this building there called the Tudor Market Cross. And so that's where the Assizes Courts were held. So you'd have judges would go on routes, basically, rather than being in one place.
And it's right near the cathedral, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Was it Judge Tyndall, was there? Was he a witch trial judge?
I can't remember if Judge Tyndall comes up, but...
Why is he famous?
Oh, don't ask me that.
But he's not witchy. He's all right. We're allowed. He's not cancelled. We don't need to.
I thought Judge Tyndall was a garage DJ from the early 90s. I think people of a certain age will get that.
It would be good. He's got his playlist in his hand. That's that book. It's his karaoke list.
I've got those 2 CDs.
Yeah, exactly.
CD1's better than CD2. CD2 only has one good mix on it. This is the first one.
All right, so we're at Tinder. I was going to say Tinder Square, the great place for meeting up.
I think it was called Tyndall Square at the time, but what we now know as Tyndall Square is
Yeah.
where the courts were. And then, so that's where the assizes would have been. So that's where Agnes and Joan would have had their trial.
Did they kill them?
So, yes and no. So, Agnes,
Hang on. He's like, yes or no? Like, they
because there's
got killed
three
or
of
not?
them. There's three of them, and they got different sentences.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yes and no.
I take that back. I take it back, Your
Yeah,
Honour.
there you go.
There's method to my madness.
What about Satan the dog?
He was never seen.
Because he turned into
Something else.
Final form.
Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan. Well, he always bring it back to Piers Morgan. We had him on the bed last week,
He is the final form of
crawling
entity,
along the ceiling,
Yeah.
smiling.
Anyway,
Hang on, we're back. So we're going to find out what happened to Agnes Waterhouse.
so Agnes, most people think that she was the first person executed under the Witchcraft Act. She wasn't. There was a woman before her. But so Agnes was executed, so she was hung, which would have been probably the day after trial
Whoa. In Chelmsford?
in Chelmsford.
That's efficient.
Is that the first witch hanging ever in the world?
No.
Oh,
So
disappointed.
Sorry.
I was just. Did you notice I was just pulling out a blue plaque? No, let's just put it away again.
so Agnes is thought to be is misunderstood as being the first person executed for witchcraft under the Witchcraft Act in England, but it was actually another woman called Elizabeth Lowes who it's the anniversary of her death. The 460th anniversary of her death is this week.
We should celebrate that with a statue.
Woo! Just party poppers.
What was her familiar?
She didn't have one.
Oh,
Because she wasn't a witch.
mate. Adele. Spoiler alert. None of them were witches.
So lesbians.
Yeah, lesbians, trans women. What else were people?
Smart women.
Midwives.
Clever women, independent women.
Women that could read.
Yeah.
Literally.
It was a bit of so. I'm going to go off on tangents if you let me, and we'll be here for hours.
Please do.
So,
Loving it. No, I
Put
like
off
the way
hours.
of it.
I've said this to so many people.
I'll just tell you when to stop.
Okay. I've told everyone, like, I can talk for hours about this, and it is both a threat and a promise.
Yes.
And
Good.
just tell me to
Oh, I
stop.
like that.
So that's just my life. It's a threat and a promise. Tell me to stop
I've
talking.
got to say, that does sound like the sort of thing a witch would say. This is both a threat and a promise.
Witches
it how
have
you
rights now. Don't
Yeah,
Witches
I
have
know.
rights.
Yeah. So Agnes would have been walked from where the trials were held at the top of the High Street at Tyndall Square.
Yeah.
She would have been walked
This
up
is Chelmsford High Street.
in Chelmsford,
listeners.
Chelmsford High
Chelmsford,
Street.
Essex, the best county in the world. Yeah.
birthplace of radio and witches.
And the toaster.
And I think you told me this before.
Is that Wikipedia or
This is official Wikipedia news. But come on, we're talking about witches. I'm going to talk about toasters another time. Don't let me talk about toasters. I'll go for hours. That is a threat and a promise. And I've got 5 different settings as well.
I'm going to have to put that aside because otherwise I'll go off on that.
Yeah, Colonel Crompton invented the toaster.
Oh, is that why you have the Crompton building?
Yeah, he did a lot of good work in Chelmsford. And Marconi's just come and just taken his crown.
That is one
And
thing
actually,
I will say.
I think with your Witch Museum
Yes.
and my Colonel Crompton awareness campaign, we're going to push Marconi down to bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been gold for so long. Marconi, oh, look at me with my radio. It's like, Marconi, no, stop it. You're not as good as witches. You're not as good as toasters.
Someone said this recently because they were talking about like the when you come into Chelmsford and you have the birthplace of radio signs.
Yeah,
So-
and toasters.
And obviously that's definitely on there already. But so Essex was known as Witch County because
Yeah.
there were so
Oh,
many
really?
trials that took place in Essex. It was
Another great name for a metal band.
yeah. But I think we should have it on the signs of Welcome to
Yeah.
Essex, Witch County.
no? But people are stupid. They'd go, "What do you mean, which county? It's Essex."
That-
But it would because people are dumb, right? It
does.
What do you mean, which?
Welcome to Witch County. It sounds like the sort of thing that you'd have an American thing. Population.
Who
whatever.
knows?
Yeah, who knows? Which county? So, yeah, that'd be confusing. So, Essex, which county?
Yeah.
We should do that. You know, in America, they all have names like Welcome to the Sunshine State and
Yeah.
stuff like the Lone Star State.
Yeah.
Which county?
Which
we should do
county?
it.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
I'm on board. Should we just go out and do that tonight?
Yeah. All right.
All right. You fill in the forms, necessary forms later.
Yeah, I'll do it later.
We'll-
We'll just
we'll-
get some spray paint now.
Yeah, we'll apply in retrospect. Yeah, that's right. We've got some pens. We'll get some Sharpies. Brilliant. Welcome to which county?
Woo!
Woo! We need more enthusiasm than that if we're going to rebrand to Witch County.
Oh, sorry, was you looking at me for more enthusiasm?
No.
I do apologise.
Adele was just looking at me, just like move on.
No, I didn't want to overdo it, and it come across sounding insincere.
Yeah, that's true. Witch County, all right.
Well, yeah, because we don't want to like dismiss it because not dismiss it, but like downplay the atrocity because it was awful.
Yeah.
Yes, but also it's happened.
It happened.
It has happened. It's not like we can go and fix it.
No.
And I think we should recognise it by making people aware of
should
it
absolutely be talking about it.
being Witch County. And actually, the amazing thing, when I heard you talk, you said that in Essex, there were like 10 times as many witches tried and killed as in Salem, which is where everyone thinks is the home of witches.
Yeah. So everyone thinks of when you think of where the witch trials were held, everyone thinks of Salem. And when there's another.
That's in America, everyone.
It's not here.
It's not here.
US of
USA.
Woo.
Woo.
Sad
In the
woo.
which state? No.
Which state?
Very good.
I'll tell you what, it's a laugh a minute at a witch museum. That joke never gets boring, does it? Can you tell me the way to the witch museum? Which museum?
The Witch Museum.
Yeah, the witch museum.
Yeah, the which one?
It's just making me think of Dance Magic, the David Bowie song. You remind me of the Babe.
Yes.
What Babe?
There we go.
Yeah. So Salem's got nothing. Salem's got nothing on Essex.
Yeah, so Salem, everyone thinks of Salem as being this hub of the witch trials. And and don't get me wrong, it was terrible what happened there. It happened in the space of 1 year. There were 20 people taken to trial. And there were, I think, top of my head, there were 19 hung and one was pressed to death by stones.
Pressed to death?
Yeah, they just kept putting stones on top of him until he was dead.
That's torturous.
So it's a bit like a weighted blanket of stones. How many stones do you have to put on someone before they get squished?
I don't know.
Should we find out?
It's not something I've tested.
No. I think I would.
Find a volunteer?
I'd rather go that way than being hung or burnt as a witch. Just incremental little stones put on me.
I don't know. I think
Not buried, not in a pit, like on top of some ground.
I feel like the hanging would have been pretty instant. If you get a hangman who knows his job, it snaps your neck quite quickly.
Yeah. I want the best man for the job.
Yeah.
I want Pierpoint. I want that guy.
I want Dr. Snappy.
If it's going to happen anyway, you want it to be.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like you get about to be hung and you're like, oh, who's going to be? So we got Trevor.
No,
Trevor's rubbish.
Trevor Loose Knots. Oh, not that guy.
all day.
Trevor, I don't think he's ever had a successful hanging.
So, why would one get just stones piled up on them instead?
It was the man.
Was he too big to go on the road? He was too tall?
I think it was just that he was the single man.
Oh, that's what
The warlock.
And
men.
the women.
Would they call him Warlock?
No, they're still just witch.
Just a witch.
Yeah.
What's a Warlock then?
I think that's quite a modern term.
It's a movie, isn't it? With Christopher Walken.
Warlock sounds so powerful, though. I'm gonna open the Essex Warlock Museum.
I think, do you know what? Awful, the
We'll be
way
rivals.
I said it as well.
Yeah.
It also sounds like a warlock. Actually, you wouldn't be
No.
like attacked for being a warlock. You would.
Well, I
be,
think
so. Do you know
you'll become prime minister or president.
Well, so I think warlock is possibly more of a druid term, whereas witch was a legal term. So you actually had a legal Christian thing. So there were two types of people during the 16th to 18th centuries when the witch trials happened. So there has been history of people practicing magic throughout all of history that we know of around the world. And in England, there were two very distinct groups of people who practiced magic. One was the cunning folk. So they would do what we would now consider witchcraft, and it was things like divination, helping you find lost things, herbal healing. They would be doing like midwifery, things like that.
Nice, just like using herbs and stuff and going out.
Yeah, just
I love
like
that.
protection stones, creating the witch bottles for people's homes.
But no one would think they were witches. Like Hopkins wouldn't come through like being an absolute bellend.
Sometimes,
Like saying like, oh, look at these. And they're like, they're not witches, they're cunning folk. Leave them alone.
You'd get some would be taken to trial. Like if they upset someone, like if something didn't go right for them, they might be accused. But
So they would be
Not cunning enough.
attacked for having empathy to help people.
yeah, so that like they were seen as a very distinct, separate group. And then you had the witches, which were bad and evil. And there was a guy whose name has been lost in time, but he said that
Trevor.
Probably Trevor. That sounds right for the time period.
Terrible Trevor and his terrible knots.
Was it in Essex? Was it in Kevin probably?
No, I think it was from Hartford, the guy.
Okay, yeah, we don't talk about Hartford.
Sorry.
All right.
But the quote was interesting. We can just cut this bit.
Do not go to the border.
Don't cross the border. You only want Essex witches here. Not witches in general. If I hear about a witch that's not from Essex in your museum,
All right.
that's it.
We'll draw lines. Someone asked me earlier if we're including Havering because it used to be part of Essex, even though it's not anymore. And yes is the answer to that. But anyway, so this guy whose name I can't remember, well, his name is lost anyway. Unknown man.
John Doe.
John Doe. Yeah, let's go with that. So John said...
Was it John Doe?
Huh?
In the witch... Oh, God, shut up, Nick.
Sorry,
I just ruined the flow. Adam laughed anyway, so that's all right.
Well, you got one.
Yeah.
Yay.
Pity laugh. All right, come on. Let's go. John Doe.
John Doe.
Was it John Doe?
Doe said, the one twineth, the other untwineth. So the witches would curse you and the cunning folk would undo the curse.
Oh, nice.
Oh, right, okay.
So they were seen as very separate groups. And the witches, the stereotypes of witches are more what we know today. So it's more like the evil, they praise Satan, they kill babies, they sacrifice animals, they, brew potions in their cauldron, all the kind of stereotypes.
They present loose women.
Adele, you're just saying like women with opinions are witches again. You've gone back to...
I was joking.
Leave the loose women alone.
I love loose women.
Sawala's a legend.
I love loose women.
Do you know once...
I said it for reaction. I was being controversy.
Once I was out with two members of Press Gang on the same night. It was pretty amazing.
What, Emma Partland and...
No. Better.
I can't remember who else. Oh, Dexter Fletcher.
Yes, and Samantha Janus.
Game on, Samantha Janus.
I know, yeah. Also of Press Gang fame. Anyway, Sawala. We love Sawala as well.
I do like those women. I'll watch it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just going to nod along because I don't watch it. I don't know who
No. That's the perils of having a job is you don't get to watch loose women.
That is the danger. You don't get daytime TV when you've got a job.
No.
I work from home and I have in the background, I hear Colleen Nolan say something and I'm like, yeah, well done, Colleen.
Look, hey, we're not having a loose women trial here.
There's no trial.
Oh, yeah. So the point was there were two different groups. And so I don't know why I was telling you about the two separate groups, but there were two separate groups of people. They were seen as very, very distinct.
Yeah. The good ones and the bad ones.
Good and bad. And it was, and that kind of, they've kind of become mushed together in the stereotypes that we have today.
Yeah.
And people that the people that practice.
Curse! She's talking your tongues.
Oh, you threw me a little bit there.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Satan, be gone. Adam, have you got any holy water? Have you got any holy water? Or a bottle, Adam, have you got a bottle of piss with nails in it? Or a dead cat?
Only works in a bath.
Just throw something at her.
Here was a question though, like you just saying that.
Yeah.
Is being a witch to do with religion or not? It isn't, is it? I've never.
It's not a religion.
Yeah, I've never thought it to do with religion. Like,
no, so
I know obviously Satan. They're saying phrasing Satan there, but I've never seen it as like the anti-religion or anything.
So the stereotype comes from back in the day, and there was a guy called Heinrich Kramer who was a German monk, forgetting how to speak. He wrote. They don't like me talking about it.
Yeah, the witches won't let you. Oh my god! Look, her tongue's turned into a raspberry.
It's the fairies.
There's a toad in the corner. Look out! So he wrote a book called Malleus Maleficarum, which is now it translates to the Hammer of Witches, and it was a book.
That's another great metal band name, by the way.
What, Hammer of Witches?
Yeah, Adam, write it down.
Yeah. Is it on there? Look it up.
No.
It's probably on there. Someone's done it. But there is so the book is basically a guide for hunting witches. It's how to spot a witch, how to try a witch.
Is this pre-Hopkins?
Oh, far pre-Hopkins. So Hopkins comes about. His first trial was the first trial he brought through was 1645. The witch trials in England started in 1542. The Malleus Maleficarum was written about 100 years before that.
Wow. And then Andrew Tate now.
Yeah, he's just carrying the flag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The flag of Bellendery. Unbelievable.
I don't want to see that flag.
No.
No, I don't.
Unsolicited.
Yeah. We did not ask permission for that.
So hang on, let's talk about Kramer. We're back to Kramer and Kramer.
Kramer,
So what's going on with Kramer and Kramer?
Yeah.
What have they got to do with Chelmsford?
So this book was basically, it was around the time of the printing press. So things were a lot easier to reproduce and spread around. So Malleus Maleficarum quickly gained traction. It got spread around. So this book was written, and it was all about like how to spot a witch. And it was written by this German monk who was celibate.
Incel.
I was just going to say.
Hang on, okay, yeah, we're getting the what's it called, the manosphere, yeah.
History's repeating itself.
If you read the book, it's awful anyway, but it's very misogynistic and very.
Why am I not surprised?
It's one of the few books. It might be the only book I own that has both semen and penis in the index.
Oh, okay.
Because it appears multiple times through the book. There's a lot in there about witches will steal your penis.
Yeah.
And they.
That does sound very insilly.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, okay.
It's a lot of like stealing your manhood kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so a lot of the stereotypes of witches are evil when they're against God and all the rest comes from that. And he wrote about making the pact with the devil. And then there are woodcuts where you can literally see like supposed witches giving the devil a.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And,
Yeah,
and this
okay.
is like how to spot a witch. Like this is
yeah.
like the
Look out!
Yeah,
if you see
look
someone
out.
giving the devil a
Yeah.
that's a witch.
You just
Amazing.
see, you go and get your bread, and you're just like, I just saw that.
Mate,
Like,
some-
Oh my god!
Do you know what? You could be on Duke Street.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah, get on the socials.
Yeah.
yeah.
get on that Chelmsford Forgotten.
Oh my god, it's terrible, isn't it? Devil just leaning up against the wall.
But there's a lot of stuff in there as well about women who were sexually loose. So a lot of the people who were tried had children outside of wedlock, or just had a lot of lovers, or were just enjoying their sexual life. And basically, it was all written by this man who was very sexually repressed.
Incel. So honestly, have we're like 500 years later now.
Time. Yeah.
It's crazy,
Well,
isn't
I
it?
said it at the talk at Ignite Chelmsford. It's lessons we haven't learned from. We're doing it in a different way, but we haven't learned them.
That's an important reason for having a museum like this, so people can, look at it. So, I know it's not as important as the Holocaust Museum or anything like that, but it does feel like learning from history to not have the same thing. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah,
All this stuff's still going on.
Yeah. I said to someone, one of the kind of the inspirations for the feel for the museum is the Hiroshima, the Peace Museum in Japan, because you go there and you walk around the museum and it's this brutal museum talking about the bomb and everything that happened there and how awful it was. And then you get to the end and you see the Peace Monument and the memorials, and it just gives you so much
It's
hope.
real. It makes it real, right?
It makes it really real, but it's this feeling of hope of we can learn from this and we can make sure this never happens again.
Have you been to the Jewish Holocaust Memorial in Berlin as well? With all the sticks, and you sort of walk in between them all, and you're really, that's so moving,
really powerful.
Yeah.
So and the difficulty is with trying to get this museum going is trying to present this information, which is actually quite dark and quite difficult. And so when we have volunteers, we were going again through the archives yesterday, and I have to give them trigger warnings because we're going through court records, and because witchcraft was classed as a felony, the other stuff that is in the same court records is also a felony, is quite dark.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of go in with these trigger warnings, and it's the same when we are presenting the information for the museum. We want it to be somewhere that is interesting, that people want to come to and want to learn about, because we want people to take this message on board, but we can't make it so dark that no one wants to come.
Yeah.
So it's getting that balance between.
You don't want it just to be Sabrina fans coming because they can buy a hat and a broom and stuff. But I suppose you're at the Essex Records office, aren't you? A lot, and so you're finding out people's names. So you want to you want to remember everyone's names and things like that. And also, if you want to, it's kind of fun being a witch as well. Right, so you can have both sides of it.
You can have both sides. Yeah, I don't see that there's an issue with one or the other.
Yeah,
and the thing for me is that it's this combination, and I think I've said it to a few people before. Of when people say to me about people using the word witch in the modern era.
Yeah.
When, from my point of view, what they are practicing is what we would have referred to as the cunning folk back in the time. It feels more like a reclamation of the word.
That's modern witches.
Modern witches. But it feels like there is still this... It feels discordant to me. It doesn't sit right. And I think the thing for me, and it didn't used to feel like that, and it's recently it started to feel like that. The more I've done this research, the more I've gone down this kind of rabbit hole of research. And the only comparison I can make with it is when I and other people that are in the LGBTQ plus community will just use queer as a bit of an umbrella term.
Yeah.
But you will get older people who had that term used against them as a derogatory thing are not comfortable with that being used to refer to them or other people within the community. And that's the only comparison I can make of why it feels wrong to me, is that I see the word witch as being this derogatory word that was used to ostracize people and persecute them and execute them.
You see so much behind it.
Yeah.
Whereas some people see it as just like, oh, you're a witch. Like
Yeah.
What would the alternate be then? People would just say, I'm a cunning folk.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it would have been back in the day. And I think the etymology of the word witch is really complex as well. So it kind of comes from the Old English word Wicca, which means wise. And so now you have the Wiccan religion. So there are so many elements as to why it's now being used as the standard term for everything. And it's difficult because none of this is simple. So anytime someone asks me a question, I can't give a simple answer to anything because all of it is so complex and there's so many different threads.
500 years or how
That's a lot of language.
What's the earliest recorded sort of witch or witchcraft?
They literally go back to like Babylonian times.
Yeah.
Like
Jesus.
Yeah. Miracles.
Was that an exclamation or like a historical statement?
That's
both. He was a magician. He was a magician.
He was. Oh, his tricks were amazing. He's like the David Blaine of the Zeros.
People talked about Jesus doing all this stuff. He didn't. He just did the thumb trick.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's just been exploded over
what was
time.
that on?
David Blaine, the levitation, his little levitation thing.
No,
from the right. No, guys, look, watch me from the other. No, not that angle. Stand over there and I'll do it.
Yeah,
He's just doing Michael Jackson with his special shoes to do the levitation.
Oh
thing.
my god! So yeah, I mean, Michael Jackson would have probably been tried as a witch, right?
Oh,
for the Smooth Criminal video.
Yeah, that alone.
Other things as well, surely.
Oh, actually, hang on. Familiar chimpanzee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then it turned into Macaulay Culkin. Yeah, let's go.
Yes.
No, sorry. What were we talking about?
He's zoned out. We lost him.
Yeah, I just went off into a whole thing. I went off
It was 3 seconds.
The Jackson.
3 seconds.
It felt like about a minute because I was thinking about Michael Jackson and thinking like how Michael Jackson's Adventures as a Witch. I do love that. Can you imagine?
The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and Michael Jackson's Adventures as a Witch, the comic book side by side.
Imagine if Bubbles was hyper intelligent and Michael Jackson was just like, huh? And then Bubbles was making all the decisions, and that's why Michael did all the bad things.
Fast. You thought of all of that in 3 seconds.
Yeah,
It was 3 seconds, was it?
Yeah.
a bit like Master Blaster, you know, like with like the little no, it's Krang in the Ninja Turtles. Moving him around. Oh, why's Bubbles on Michael Jackson's back? It's like Ratatouille is moving him around. Michael, don't do that. I can't stop. Bubbles is making me do it.
Whatever happened to Bubbles?
But he got put down because he got a bit too violent. You know, like chimps. Like, when they get a bit older, you know, chimpanzees like 5 times stronger than a human.
Yeah.
And if they go for you, they will attack your genitals, your buttocks, and your face exclusively.
I've seen the movie Nope.
Yeah.
So I've seen the chimpanzee attack
I was just
people.
thinking Planet of the Apes.
No.
I know they're not. Apes and chimps are different.
Don't get the language mixed up.
I know.
Don't chimp-splain it to me. Anyway, we got
Not a monkey. Didn't Justin Bieber used to have a monkey once, and then he couldn't get it on a plane? He just left at the airport.
Yeah, and
Apparently so.
Bieber. Can't be trusted.
Okay, but this is quite interesting because we're having these kind of conversations of like, oh, this happened. Did it? Maybe.
Well, don't know. That's true,
this,
though. Right?
This is what happened in the witch trials. So a lot of the accusations were, there was one, so...
Dog with a monkey's face.
Yeah. So there was one I was reading about yesterday, I was very excited actually in the archives. So Elizabeth Lowes, which was really sad, it's really nerdy of me, but Elizabeth Lowes, who as far as we know, as far as the records that are preserved, as far as we know, Elizabeth Lowes was the first person executed under the Witchcraft Act in England, and she came from Great Waltham.
I know someone who might live in Great Wall.
Yeah, someone who might live there.
Maybe.
And that's where old Ruffy lives as well.
Oh, yeah, we had that discussion with Bethany.
Yeah, old Ruffy the ghost, the poltergeist.
I live in a witch village.
Yeah.
Well, which county? Village in a county.
Essex.
It's very witchy.
Yeah.
So when she was actually taken to the Assizes Court, the indictments against her were for killing 3 children. And she was found guilty and she was sentenced to hang, and she pled pregnancy. So they said, well, we can't hang you because you're pregnant. That's ridiculous. So we'll imprison you for 8 months and see if you're pregnant then.
Yeah, okay.
Very logical.
That's
right?
a long time to wait.
It's a very long time to wait.
Yeah.
So she was
But no one
imprisoned-
wants 2 for 1, do they?
So she was imprisoned at Colchester's Castle.
Yeah. What a great place to be imprisoned.
What?
Yeah.
Colchester's Castle at the zoo?
At the zoo?
No.
What?
They got that little castle bit at the zoo.
No. The castle that's now a museum.
What do you think there was a zoo back then?
No, I thought they
Next
built
to
the
the
zoo
chimps.
round the castle.
That's where they kept the
Because
familiars.
that's where the chimps are.
The Tropiano family had their little thing there. Yeah,
The
already.
orangutans chill.
So she was in prison for 8 months, and then she was sort of.
And they're like, "You were not pregnant. You were just lying."
Well, they checked her up by
bloated.
matrons 8 months later.
Yeah.
Just bloated.
That's a big steak.
So after 8 months, they found that she wasn't pregnant. And then she was hung.
They had to wait 8
Oh.
months.
They had to wait 8 months.
Yeah. Can you imagine she was like, "Oh, fair cop, guys, you got me. I'm not really pregnant."
Every time she walked in, she's like, quick, get that pillow back underneath it.
So it's all because it was all like male prison guards.
Yeah.
So there wouldn't have been female prison guards.
And they're
So-
dumb.
And they're dumb. And
Yeah.
they don't know
Do you know what she's-
pregnancy looks like.
She was dumb because she probably could have got herself pregnant and got out of the whole thing.
Some people did.
Yeah.
So there were instances of people where they were imprisoned for a year, and during that year they were found to be pregnant.
Yeah.
So the only men they would have come into contact with during that year would have been male prison guards. So I hope it was consensual.
Oh, yeah. We're going to a dark place. I don't like this.
I've told you this is all quite dark.
Yeah, I know.
talking about
Cultures-
witches.
I know we're talking about
Talking
witches, but I like the ones with like cats with man's faces called Vinegar Dave and stuff like that.
Vinegar Tom.
Vinegar
Get it right.
Tom. We can't. So she's in Colchester Castle. I love this. Like, so Colchester
So
Castle
Colchester
is
Castle,
epic.
you can still go, and
Yeah.
they still have the cells there. I mean, the cells that are still open, what would have been the male cells rather than the female, they were kept separate. But you can go down there and you can see it, and you can stand where they stood, and they've got some lovely graphics that you can watch of understanding just how brutal it was.
Yeah.
So at the end of the 8 months, they found she wasn't pregnant, and she was then hung. So that was in 1565.
Liz Lowe.
Liz Lowe.
Liz Lowe in
I'm going to look
1665.
that. I'm going to look her up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
So,
and,
I mean, she deserves to be
and
remembered.
where was she
gets-
hung? Where was she hung? In Colchester?
Chelmsford.
In Chelmsford? Which
So she-
county?
Which county?
Yeah.
So she's-
Mad.
Essex.
So was it,
Yeah.
what I mean the A12 wasn't there then. So that's quite a long journey.
Yeah.
That's probably like 2 days journey. Why did they bring her to Chelmsford?
So the Assizes Courts were held in a few places around the county, and it depended where the judge was going as to where the court was going to be held. So there would be a judge that would travel around. It was called the Home Circuit. So it was a few different, don't ask me which counties because I can't remember them, but he would go to a few different places. And so there were a few places in Essex where the Assizes Courts would be held. They were, I think, twice a year off the top of my head. And then you just had to wait, basically. So if you were accused of witchcraft, you would be imprisoned. You'd go to the court sessions. They would say, yeah, we're going to send this to the Assizes. Then they would put you in prison, mostly Colchester Castle, and then you would just have to wait until the Assizes came round. So you could be waiting like months and months and months to be heard at trial to then be found not guilty, but you'd still been imprisoned for that whole time.
What?
And so there were people who died before they ever made it to trial just because the conditions of the castle jail were brutal.
I mean, Colchester Castle. I mean, it's nice now, but like when I was a kid going there, I mean, the toilets weren't even that nice. You know,
They've
like
done a lot of work.
just
It's
as a
very nice.
visitor, it's really nice now. But just as a visitor,
You're like, God, if I'm a visitor and I don't like
Yeah.
it, imagine what it was like those in prison.
mate, it was so boring before they put the interactive Roman exhibitions
That
in
is
and
the
stuff.
biggest concern about being in jail. It's boring.
It's so boring.
Yeah, that's the biggest
Especially back
concern.
in the day, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Social media, no TV.
No one's worried about plague. They're just worried about being bored.
Yeah.
And they'll come in and say, oh, you know what? This was actually a Roman temple, and then the Saxons knocked it down and they built this castle. And they'd be like, yeah, no,
Yeah,
I've heard that story.
Can I go home now?
Yeah, I know about the elephants on High Street.
There's a zoo down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, the chimpanzees. Chimpanzees are not apes. Yeah,
Don't you explain it to me. I know.
Yeah, don't you explain it. I know that. Well, there's no evidence that Michael Jackson did it. No one's ever.
Who would be like in today's society considered a witch?
Most people. So is one of the misconceptions. So there's a few misconceptions that kind of float. One of them is that all the witches were witches, that they were women, that they were healers and midwives, that they were burnt at the stake, and that Matthew Hopkins was responsible for all of it.
Bloody Hopkins.
He was awful, don't get me wrong, he was a terrible person. Him and John Stern were responsible for around 200 trials across East Anglia. And so...
They were just getting their quota up, weren't they?
Oh my God. They were
in 3 years as well.
In 3 years. So Matthew Hopkins was active for 3 years.
They were bored.
He was,
and they were like, we just need to get more women, just get them hung.
Well, so he capitalised.
Yeah, he's like, we're horrible people, and we're just going to find these women who do stuff that don't listen to us.
Use the law to our advantage and do some serial killing.
What does that sound like?
Too many people.
Answers on the postcard.
So, would that be anyone that's like making medicine and stuff like that?
Literally anyone. So
Greta Thunberg, would she be considered a modern witch based on how they treated and looked at people?
Probably, because people don't like her.
No, she refuses to fly.
That took me so long to
It took me too long, and then I know how proud
come
you
on,
are.
Come on. Look at my little face.
So happy with him.
Who else? Come on, let's call that some bit.
Okay, so when I was in the archives yesterday, this is relevant, I promise. When I was in the archives, found this book, and it was talking about Elizabeth Lowes, and it was talking about when she was first tried. So the very first courts were held in the church, and then in 1563 they then moved to being in the courts. So when she was first heard and the accusations were made against her, they were in an ecclesiastical court, so in church. And this document is held at the Essex Record Office. It's just down the road.
Yeah.
And I got to hold the book and read the book.
With archival quality gloves on, I hope.
No, I had to put it on a special cushion.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But it's all written in like a mixture of Latin and early modern English in cursive script, and it is incredibly difficult to read.
I bet.
But it's fascinating because it gives all the details of what her neighbours accused her of. And there's more stuff in there than actually ended up going to the assizes. So it was stuff that they couldn't prove.
What were they accusing her of?
So one of the things was, so she worked as a spinster. So she was making wool, making clothes out of wool. And there was another woman called Grace who also was working as a spinster. And they both got their work from the same person. And
Did she invent the cable net?
No.
Isn't there?
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
No. So Elizabeth went to this woman and said, oh, by the way, Grace doesn't want to do this anymore, so don't give her any more work. Just give the work to me. It's kind of a sneaky move. And so Grace, when she then found out, turned to Elizabeth and said, you're a liar. You have told a tale. And if what others say is true, you're also a witch.
No.
And so Elizabeth said, if I be a witch, the devil thee twitch. And apparently, immediately, Grace fell to the floor with, I think it was termed as much quivering and quakering.
Twitching.
Like having tremors.
Witches get twitches.
Yeah. So that then, I'm going to put down a t-shirt.
That's really good. That is really good.
So she had these tremors for 4 days, and then she fell down dead. But for 14 days, they thought she might die. So the language there is really interesting. So there are two versions of dead. So there's DEAD, which is they died, and DED, which is so unwell that they thought they might die.
That was internet slang for dead at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
DED.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm dead.
I'm dead. So
Literally, literally, bruv.
So Grace was like, I'm dead. For 14 days.
Yeah, hashtag I'm dead. Selfie. Pout.
Yeah,
I'm dead.
Dead for 14 days. And everyone thought that she would die. She was
She was just bed rotting.
Yeah. She was just having a chill day. Netflix and chill. So she called. So she called the priest and told him everything and said, Elizabeth has done this.
Mate, I'm dead. Priest,
Mate, I'm dead, priest.
Bring me a bottle of water, mate.
Yeah. Make it holy. And so the priest then called for Elizabeth and said to her, I know that you have done this to Grace. If you don't undo this now, you will burn as a witch.
Wow.
God.
And immediately, Grace got better. So the two elements of that I find fascinating.
Hypochondria.
Oh, hang on. So Grace wasn't dead.
She
wasn't dead.
Oh, she was just hashtag dead.
She was just hashtag dead, and then she was all right.
And then she was fine.
Okay.
She was immediately mended.
I was literally dead.
Literally dead.
Literally
I'm
dead.
literally not dead now.
It just makes me think of Monty Python. It's that she turned me into a newt. I got better.
So she never died. Or she eventually did die, but she didn't die because of Liz Lowe.
Not because of that. So there's two aspects of that I find fascinating. One is either that Grace is a master manipulator and a brilliant actress that then used this to turn everyone against Elizabeth Lowe.
Grace sounds like a bitch.
To be honest, neither of them sound particularly nice.
She got powered on.
And Elizabeth's husband was caught stealing a lot. Like they weren't well liked.
This is,
but
it's like
drama.
Yeah, it's probably like a reality TV show.
Yeah, I think we could. I mean, we could turn.
Can we just turn this into a soap?
We could turn it into a film.
It's the original Only Way is Essex.
Yeah.
So then,
The Only Witch is Essex.
Only Witch is Essex.
We could do that. There you go. There's another T-shirt for you.
There's another one. I'm just going to take so many T-shirts.
Still
now.
Tower, yeah?
She's literally dead now. Literally not
so
alive.
there's the two aspects of it. So either Grace was this master manipulator and brilliant actress, or the power of the psyche in that she was so strong in her belief that Elizabeth was a witch that she then had these tremors and this illness because she was so convinced. And it was
she
this
manifested
placebo.
it.
Yeah, she manifested it. It's like a placebo effect. And then when the priest told Elizabeth to stop, Grace got better because she believed that the priest had the power to do that.
Oh.
So there's two sides of looking at that.
But then Liz Lowe still got put in a prison and then hung.
She did. But there's a few other kind of things in this document. And one of them, another one that I find hilarious, is so one of her neighbours had a lamb and Elizabeth was accused of cursing the lamb and killing the lamb. And when it came to the ecclesiastical court, what I love is this original document. It has Elizabeth's own words in it. And it's so rare to find documents with people's own words in it because most of them couldn't read or write. So, and the court records, a majority are just the basics of.
Yeah. So what did Liz say?
So when they went to court and they said, "Did you curse this lamb and cause this lamb to die?" And Elizabeth said, I'm paraphrasing massively, but she said, "No. What happened was the woman was feeding this lamb only white bread and milk."
Oh,
and
man.
I said,
"It's not a hedgehog.
It's not a hedgehog. Everyone knows."
Even that'll give a hedgehog a sort of poorly tummy.
So Elizabeth then said, what I actually said was, if you keep feeding this lamb only white bread and milk, it will die. And then the lamb died because it was being overfed on white bread and milk.
Oh, but she thought it was like a witch's curse.
She thought it was a witch's curse, and it was just Elizabeth going, "You're being ridiculous. The lamb will die." And then the lamb died. So an example I say to a lot of people is, and it comes up a lot in the courts, is have you ever cursed at someone, i.e. sworn at them, or have you ever wished someone ill and then they become ill or they die?
Never.
Never. You never said horrible words
A
against
really nice person.
You must be.
The best.
I definitely have.
I'm an angel.
It's such an angel.
I am not. I've definitely told people to F off. And I've
Yeah.
definitely...
And have they?
I mean, I haven't kept in touch with them, but they might be dead.
Oh my God.
Hang on, telling someone to F off doesn't mean they die, does it?
I hope not.
That's not what the term F means.
No.
Why are we've been very
F.
sense.
F.
F off.
F-bomb. Well, I don't know if I can swear, and I swear a lot, so I'm trying to...
He edits
Yeah,
it
keep
out.
it clean because it saves me time.
I love that. Just keep it clean because I don't want to edit no more.
Oh, so much ever. But so a lot of people who went through the courts were accused of doing things like that. So they would say, she cursed my wife. She said unkind words against my wife. And then my wife became lame on her left side. And now we can look at that and go, well, she probably had a stroke.
My wife is so lame. Bruv. My wife used to be so good at Fortnite, and now she's just like named since the witch told her she was a noob.
But actually, so Elizabeth Lowe's own husband accused her of being a witch, and it was
he just wanted peace and quiet, didn't he?
So they had quite a few daughters together. They had, I think, 4 daughters together, and one was called Olive. And so John and Olive were caught.
Olive Lowe.
Yeah, that's a good name. Were caught stealing chicken.
Oh no!
And
The Colonel's not going to be happy.
there was a shortage, So the neighbour was having this. The neighbour was having.
I'm so hashtag dead right now.
D. Dead.
That's just going to be on all our socials forevermore now. It's just hashtag dead. So the neighbour was having this argument with John, and he was like, "You're getting on. Are you really still going to keep pilfering? Like, it was 30 years ago you nicked my dad's handsaw. Are you really still doing this stuff?
Get a life."
And he was like, "Oh, if I could, I would. I just can't help it." And they said, "Well, John, you used to be such a pretty man." And it was like, "You in your day, you were such a pretty man." And he said, "Well, you can blame my wife for my lameness, because she cursed me. I went to the cunning woman of Whittam, and she told me that my wife was a witch and that she has caused my lameness."
Oh my God, it's this gossip. It is drama.
This is like incel again as well, isn't it?
It's so much like,
brother, I'm so lame because
if people take one thing from this episode, it is that we are repeating the same
absolutely
nonsense now.
Yeah.
Which is causing so much like hatred and hurt in the world. I think we all just need to stop the drama.
Yes.
Just start being nice to each other.
Yes.
And the Essex, this is why the Essex Witch Museum is so important. And do you know what? We've run out of time. Emma, you're going to come back again because the Witch Museum is actually like an ongoing project.
Yeah.
So, you have no bricks and mortar at the moment or anything like that.
No.
And I think what we should do, we should have a regular Witch Museum update because you've got more stories.
So much more.
I had so much more things to ask you about. Okay.
So as of yesterday, we have recorded 909 indictments in Essex.
Blimey.
Wow. 909.
909 indictments. And
turn it round. 606.
We just need 90 more.
Do you know what? Like, these books. I mean, I work next to the God, what's it called? The British Library. I work next to the British Library in King's Cross, and sometimes I go and look at the Magna Carta at lunchtimes because
why not?
Yeah.
It's there. Got the John Lennon's stuff is there. Magna Carta. Oh my God, it's the most boring thing ever.
I had a wander
This
around.
one sounds much better. This book, this Essex Records
I'll
book.
lend you a copy.
I wandered around the television studios where ITV is, just because where I just wanted to walk around because a lot of it was like where BBC Live and Kicking used to be back in the day. And I just had a little wander by myself. It's all flats now.
That's good history. That's better than Magna Carta as well. Magna Carta. Do you know that Magna Carta? There's like 5 copies as well. Oh God, boring.
Yeah.
Imagine
Live and Kicking, loads of episodes.
Mate, Live and Kicking so
Did the
much
Magna
better.
Carta have Andy Peters in it? I don't think so.
Why has the British Library not got Live and Kicking transcripts in it?
Live and Kicking omnibuses.
Anyway, you're going to come back and we're going to have a regular catch up. I think this is episode 32 or something. So every 32 episods or some sort of satanic number, some sort of witch.
Well, 3 is a magic number, 7 and 666.
Yeah. So you. Oh, good. I can't do maths. Quick maths.
Don't set yourself up to fail. Just bring it back.
Are you creative? I don't know.
Is that the end of the episode?
You're right.
That's the end of the episode. Where can people find out more about it? I'm just trying to wrap up so you can go.
Sorry, Dad.
You go outside. Oh, sorry, you had to wait so long, but it was well funny. Oh yeah, don't worry, it's a joke. You went in on the joke, so don't worry.
You'll get it later.
Yeah. Where can people find out about the Witch Museum?
So if you head to our website, essexwitchmuseum.co.uk, or we're on socials at Essex Witch Museum.
And how can people volunteer and come into the archives and look at all these things with you?
Please.
We need more people, right?
We need, there's a lot of stuff to go through. We are still digging. As I say, we found 3 more people yesterday, which is this weird moment of like, yay, we found more people,
but
and,
also
and
boo.
we're going to remember them. And then, oh my God, it's so much more awful.
Do you know
because
what?
it just keeps going.
Soon, Salem are going to find out about this. And they're going to be like, "Oh my God, they're beating us! Come on, we've got to get our witch count up."
Yeah.
And also, if people go to your website, they can get resting witch face merch. And the merch, Essex Witch Museum merch is wicked. And if you buy it, wicked witches.
Nice.
And if you buy it, it will help fund the research and the things. I reckon, I reckon in 10 years' time, Chelmsford is not going to be the birthplace of radio anymore. Like I say, bronze medal, witches, toasters, radio.
Yeah.
And you can follow us on @i.u.creative.podcast on Instagram. Thank you very much to Adam Lorca and his Lorca Media Studios. He's been very quiet.
Thank you, Adam.
Get out of my studio. Okay, we're almost done, mate.
You did my trick there. What are you doing? Get out of it. It's all right. We're going now.
It's all right. Don't make me get the Monster Network on it. All right. #dead. Okay. And we're going to say bye-bye now, aren't we? How do witches say bye?
Bye.
They're human beings.
How
They're just people.
How would Vinegar Tom say bye?